Hey gang, Doumitt here. Say, the holiday seasons are upon us. We have a really cool gift idea. We bought some brand new empty cigar boxes.
Chris Doumitt gets $25,000 each episode, but that's not the craziest part. Chris came to build a cabin, but stayed and now makes more than $300,000 a year. While others fought for the camera, he dealt with a stolen van, a sore back, and his wife's cancer all in 1 year. Tune in. Parker pays him for more than gold. The quiet one got rich. Chris showed up with a hammer, built a cabin, and accidentally built a career. Most people land a gig on reality TV and treat it like a stepping stone to something bigger, hoping to squeeze out a few sponsored posts or maybe a brand deal if they're lucky. Back when Todd Hoffman needed someone to throw together a little shelter for his crew, Chris got called in. Just a simple job, nothing glamorous. He wasn't supposed to stick around. But then something unexpected happened. He found gold fever. Or at least the paycheck fever that came with it. But the ground had other plans. Fast forward a few years and Chris is now a central figure in Parker Schnabel's mining team. Not just a background extra, not just someone who fills the screen. He's the glue, the kind of guy the boss can rely on when everything else is falling apart. And he's getting paid like it too. When people think of the gold rush, the young prodigy gets the spotlight, the intense boss. But underneath that spotlight is a team. And within that team, Chris is the steady hand keeping everything from going sideways. A dependable force who doesn't crumble under pressure. That kind of reliability doesn't show up on spreadsheets, but it sure shows up on screen and in the bank. Outside of TV land, Chris isn't sitting around counting coins. He's turned his name into a brand. Cigars and golf gear. Not the first side hustles that come to mind for a miner, but exactly the kind that makes sense if you know Chris. He took his love for good cigars and turned it into Doumitt Gold cigars. These aren't corner store smokes. They're premium, well packaged, and aimed at folks who like their downtime to feel like a celebration. The cigar game might sound niche, but it's been working. There's a whole community that sees Chris as more than just a guy in muddy boots. He's a vibe, a lifestyle, a reminder that after a long day of hauling rocks, you deserve to light something up and relax. That idea sells, and Chris knows how to market it. And then there's golf, because when you spend your days operating heavy machinery, maybe it's nice to unwind with something that doesn't make noise. Chris jumped into the golf scene with some investments and partnerships that add yet another layer to his financial pie. It's not about becoming a sports mogul, it's about having something steady when the mining world gets rough. By spreading his income across different projects, Chris has built a financial cushion most people only dream about. His estimated net worth sits around $1 million. That number isn't built on hype or luck, it's built on showing up, being useful, and saying yes to smart opportunities when they come knocking. And still, what truly stands out is the long-term bond with that same boss. Reality TV isn't famous for stable relationships. People come and go, egos clash, and the edit room turns every season into a guessing game. But Chris and his team leader, they've managed to keep things tight. That kind of working relationship doesn't last unless there's mutual trust. It's not just about digging up gold, it's about knowing who's got your back when the mine turns messy. It's easy to see why he keeps him close. Chris doesn't just do his job, he brings balance, he brings perspective. When tempers flare and deadlines loom, he doesn't panic. He assesses, adapts, and pushes forward. That's the kind of leadership that doesn't need a title. Gold Rush might look like a wild adventure from the outside. Big machines, big dreams, bigger drama. But behind every gold nugget is a crew of people keeping the operation alive. Chris is one of those people, the kind you want on your side when the plan falls apart, the kind who doesn't just show up when things are easy. And now, he's living proof that staying grounded pays off, that showing up, sticking around, and doing the work can turn into something lasting. He's not the loudest, he's not the flashiest, but he's got something better, staying power. And that, in the world of reality TV and muddy mining sites, is worth its weight in gold. That steady hustle, that quiet power, that's what makes Chris Doumitt more than just another cast member. He's the foundation. And that foundation is padded with enough zeros to prove just how valuable he really is. His reputation didn't come from one good season. It came from years of showing up before dawn, staying after the cameras stopped rolling, and handling every piece of chaos like it was just another Tuesday. He's out there dodging breakdowns, fixing what's broken, and making sure the crew doesn't fly off the rails. And while the gold glitters, Chris keeps the gears turning. It started as just a job, but he turned into the reason things didn't fall apart. The real power behind the crew. The golf side? That's not just leisure. That's networking. That's branding. That's placing his name in circles that never touch dirt but have deep pockets. It's clever. It's calculated. It's how you turn fame into capital. And when fans meet him at conventions or trade shows, they're not just shaking hands with a TV star. They're meeting someone who understands the grind, someone who's lived it, someone who's turned hard work into something that lasts. This isn't just a story of paychecks and airtime, it's a blueprint for making yourself essential, for turning a side role into a central one, for knowing your worth and delivering it again and again until no one can ignore it. People watch Gold Rush and think it's all about finding treasure, but behind every shiny nugget is a mountain of dirt, stress, and chaos. He's calm in that storm. He's been around the block enough times to know when to push, when to shut up, and when to fix something with duct tape and sheer willpower. That kind of magic doesn't come cheap. And Parker? For all his stress and micromanaging, he knows the guy is the backbone of the crew. That's why he pays him well, more than most people would guess. He isn't just making a living, he's pulling in serious cash, upwards of $25,000 per episode, plus all kinds of bonuses and side hustles that make his bank account look as rich as the gold he digs up. He knows how to keep a machine humming and a crew from tearing each other apart. That's not something you learn from a manual. That's experience, and experience is expensive. Parker writes big checks because he knows the cost of not having him around. One slip-up in gold mining can cost tens of thousands. He prevents those slip-ups. Gold mining isn't for the faint of heart. It's cold, it's loud, and it's brutal on the body. But he moves through it like it's just another day at the office. Whether he's wrangling with busted equipment or calming down a crew member on the verge of losing it, he handles it all with the kind of cool confidence you can't fake. When you see him on the show, there's this vibe, like he knows how to read the whole room and the ground beneath it. He's like the human version of a weathered toolbox, scratched up, full of stories, but still doing the job better than anything new. That kind of presence holds a team together when things hit the fan. And when it comes to loyalty, he has it in spades. He could have cashed out and walked away, but he didn't. There's something about that rough and tumble lifestyle, the dust in your teeth, the hum of machinery before sunrise, it gets in your blood. He doesn't just work on the mine, he's part of its bones. Off camera, people might not see the full picture. They see the gold, the yelling, the fancy machines. They don't see the guy who stays late, double checks every bolt, talks people down from quitting, and keeps the gears turning when morale drops to zero. That guy is Chris. His paycheck, it reflects all of that. Parker pays him like he's paying for peace of mind, because when he's on site, Parker can actually breathe. That's worth every penny, and those pennies add up fast. With bonuses, cuts of the profit, and other perks, his yearly take-home probably makes most office jobs look like lemonade stands. He doesn't need to flash it. He doesn't need gold chains or shiny toys. His payoff is knowing the job got done right. The team didn't implode, and the gold kept flowing. That's his flex. And in this game, that kind of flex gets respect. If you ask around, most of the crew will say the same thing. He holds the line. He's the guy people listen to when stuff gets tense. He's the one who reminds them why they're there in the first place. Not for fame, not even for fortune, but for the satisfaction of doing a hard job well. In a world where people jump ship for a few extra bucks or a flashier title, he stays rooted. That's rare. That's valuable. And Parker, he knows it. That's why the money keeps flowing. Because losing him wouldn't just be losing a worker, it'd be losing the glue that keeps the whole operation from falling apart. Stick around long enough and you'll see it too. Every season, every episode, there's a moment when everything is about to go sideways. And there he is, stepping in, steady as ever, turning disaster into just another bump in the road. That's his superpower. And yeah, While everyone else scrambles for screen time or throws tantrums for attention, he's quietly stacking paychecks and holding the fort. Behind every gold nugget and successful haul is a man who doesn't need a spotlight to shine. Stick around because this gold digger's got more going on than you think, and Parker's wallet knows it. Let's cut the fluff. Chris Doumitt, the guy with the cigars and the no-nonsense vibe on Gold Rush, might seem like your average hard-working miner. But dig a little deeper, and you'll see a story lined with tough breaks, quiet wins, and just enough mystery to keep fans guessing. He didn't start out in gold. He was a carpenter. Not just any carpenter, but one with real skill, building things with his hands the old-fashioned way. When the cameras rolled in on the gold mines, he was supposed to be helping build a cabin. But fate had a different job lined up for him. One conversation turned into a shovel in hand. Before anyone knew it, he was part of the mining crew. No formal training, no mining background, just instinct, grit, and a knack for getting things done. He came back from hard times tougher than ever, and he's still going. Unstoppable Chris Doumitt. By the time the show took off, he had carved a name for himself. Not the loud kind of fame, but the kind built on showing up, staying calm under pressure, and knowing how to fix just about anything. He became one of the most dependable guys on Parker Schnabel's team. While others came and went, he held steady, the kind of presence that makes chaos feel manageable. Let's talk about money, since that's what everyone wants to know. Parker doesn't just keep him around for sentimental reasons, he pays, and he pays well. Estimates float around that he gets roughly $25,000 per episode. Multiply that by a full season's worth of episodes, and you're looking at over $300,000 a year just from the show. That's not even counting the gold bonuses or the silent agreements we don't see on camera. But he doesn't stop there. He's got another hustle. When he's not hauling pay dirt or fixing broken gear, he's puffing cigars. That signature smoke turned into something real when he launched Doumitt Cigar. The brand evolved into Tradesman Cigar Company, a nod to every blue-collar worker who builds and fixes and creates with their hands. This isn't some fancy celebrity vanity project. The cigars are handmade in the Dominican Republic using rich, world-class tobacco. 10 blends, each crafted with care, each one speaking to a different kind of hard-working spirit. Tradesman Cigar Company gives back too. A portion of the profits is funneled into scholarships for young people going into trades. It's him putting his money where his mouth is, making sure the next generation gets a shot at a life built on real work. But money and cigars aren't the full story. Life has thrown a few punches. In 2016, he had his van stolen. That van wasn't just a ride, it held important documents, personal items, stuff that can't just be replaced at a DMV. The loss hit hard. The following year, his wife Sharon got diagnosed with cancer. 2 kinds at the same time. While she fought her battle, he went under the knife for back surgery. The timing couldn't have been worse. He had to step away from the show, missing an entire season. Fans noticed. People wondered where he went. Rumors floated. But in reality, it was just life, messy and painful and real. He and Sharon stuck through it. She went through treatment from February to July in 2017, and by the end of it, she was stronger. He too. When he came back to the crew, he didn't come back softer. He came back sharper, like someone who'd seen the edge and decided to keep going anyway. He doesn't do drama, he does work. He shows up early, leaves late, and puts everything into each day. That mindset earned him something better than fame. It's earned him respect. Parker might be the young face of the crew, but he is the backbone. When equipment breaks, when spirits are low, when the pay dirt isn't delivering, he is there, steady and focused. And his efficiency? It's almost scary. They say he pulls in over 99% of the gold from the dirt he processes. In mining terms, that's unreal. That kind of success doesn't happen by accident. It takes precision, years of know-how, and a sixth sense for where the gold hides. That's what Parker pays for, not just experience, but results. Back at home, things are more grounded. He and Sharon live in Oregon. It's quiet, simple, and comfortable. They host friends, spend time with their kids, and try to enjoy the slow days when they can. It's not a flashy lifestyle, but it's honest. Every dollar he earns, Nothing was handed to him, no shortcuts, no fame chasing. Even now at 71, he hasn't hit the brakes. While others his age are eyeing retirement plans and beach chairs, he is still out there in the dirt, still taking risks, still building something bigger than himself. Some fans think he's crazy for not retiring. Others think he's addicted to the grind. But maybe it's not about money or habits. Maybe it's about purpose. He looks like the kind of guy who wouldn't know what to do with himself without a challenge to chase. It helps that the fans love him. He's not flashy, he doesn't stir up drama, and he doesn't try to be anyone else. That makes him stand out even more in a world full of loud personalities. When he talks, people listen. When he works, people learn. And when he disappears from the screen for a while, they miss him. That paycheck from Parker? It's big, but it's also earned. Every cut on his hands, every hour in the freezing cold, every minute under pressure, they all add up to a man who's built a legacy with both hands. And that legacy lives not just in the gold they haul out of the ground, but in the steady confidence he brings to every job. Chris might not be loud, but his story speaks volumes. Watch him once, and you'll see the cigar. Watch him twice, and you'll see a worker who never gave up. Watch him long enough, and you might just learn something about grit, loyalty, and showing up no matter how heavy the load gets. He could have walked away after the surgery. He could have hung it up when Sharon got sick. He could have taken the money and retired into the smoke of his cigar business. But he didn't. He came back, again and again. That's the kind of miner Parker Schnabel counts on. And that's the kind of story that sticks with people long after the cameras stop rolling. Let others chase the spotlight. He builds things, careers, businesses, teams, and trust. In a world of flash and noise, he's the steady hum in the background, proving that real value doesn't shout. It just works. So here's the question. Does Chris Doumitt deserve more credit than Parker Schnabel? Drop your thoughts in the comments, like and subscribe for more untold stories that pay off.